All right. We're gonna wrap up with each one of us making a case to for why we drafted a cup winning team. But before we do that, I'm just gonna rattle off some names that I thought were gonna be drafted, or some names that we left on the board, which are kind of interesting that are still out there, or still were out there. Nobody took was Evan Bouchard, which I actually thought, of all people, Justin, I thought you were gonna take him because you have Connor McDavid. Maybe if I were drafting from that perspective, maybe go double down on that, where you get McDavid and Bouchard just to have that 1-2 punch. But Bouchard's on the board, Jacob Slavin's still on the board. It just every time he gets overlooked. He probably would have been the wild card I could have seen maybe going. Heck, if you took Bouchard with it as a defenseman, maybe go Slavin just so you have those two defensemen there. But he's off. He's still on the board. Jake Ottinger is the goaltender that you probably would say is the next elite one. He's still on the board. Although if your goal is to win the cup, just make sure you have the right coach there as well for him. Just so you don't pull him or anything crazy. Some forwards, Alexander Barkov. He was the other player I would have taken. The other wild card, just because and he's that center, that two-way center that you want to win a cup. Barkov, Austin Matthews, the intriguing one, just because I guess if you want goals, but I think we're just leaving Matthews off the board because it's just like play for the playoffs. Do you really want to build around him? And the answer is probably not really. And then Kirill Kaprizov and Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel's the one, and one of them that I thought maybe as a wild card out there, but I digress. So let's wrap up. Justin, why do you think you drafted the best team? You've got obviously the best player, and you also, I believe, you have one of the best. You have a lot of talent there. So why do you think you have the best team?
Well, maybe I'm a little biased, but I think I have the best coach in Paul Maurice. I think I have the best player in Connor McDavid, and I think maybe I have the best goalie in there too. It's just Sturkin. And then adding Kucherov in there, who again has led the league in points back-to-back seasons, and Dahlin, who I think people are starting to warm up on him. People are starting to recognize that he is among the very elite in the NHL. He's very fun to watch, and yeah, I think if you just place him on a contender, I think he can have that elite impact and help you win a championship. And speaking of championships, there's a lot of experience here. Kucherov was a massive contributor on back-to-back cups. Paul Maurice was a massive contributor on back-to-back cups. McDavid, absolutely phenomenal these past two playoffs. And while Dahlin hasn't made the playoffs yet, I think he can have that impact. And Shesterkin doesn't have a cup, but he has been very good in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think Shesterkin's proven that he can. He doesn't come up short in the playoffs. So I think that's a big part there. The big wild card in your draft, I think, is Dahlin. I want to see him and Tage Thompson. I want to see on a big stage. Maybe we'll see that at the Olympics which is coming up, where maybe both players make it and they're there. But just to see, because I think we saw it with Brady Tkachuk, who, by the way, was another player who we left off on the board. These big players, these game changing players on teams that aren't great, but in the playoffs or on a big stage, how do they perform? Zach, you're up. Always you always I'm always surprised. Sidney Crosby, you're maybe pushing it a bit with the contending window. David Pasternak is there. You have is Darcy Kemper going to sustain or not? But I'll let you prove me wrong and prove why you can win the cup with this team.
I mean, when you look at this team, you're talking multiple, you're talking about cup winners all across the board. Sidney Crosby, multi-cup winner. He finished 10th last year in points with 91 at his age on a very mediocre Penguins team. He, he basically, Pasternak over 100 points last year on a very, not that great Bruins team, but, he wasn't there when they done it, but he's proven enough where if they're in the playoffs, he's elite. Regular season is elite. He was basically carrying the Bruins. You look at, Cale Makar, Norris winner, Stanley Cup champion. He's been there and done that too. Arguably, probably one of the best defensemen in the league year in and year out, and he has so many more years to go where he's going to be that top elite guy. Darcy Kemper, I mean, some people might have a head scratcher on that one, but guess what? He was the goaltender on the cup winning team with Cale Makar. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You're having a cup winner goalie who was put into a different situation after he left Colorado, did okay in Washington, goes to LA, has an unreal season. I think a lot of people haven't really talked about it very much because all you hear is about is Hellebuck and Shesterkin and Vasilevsky and Bobrovsky and Ottinger. And I think Kemper is kind of getting left out of the conversations, but he's been there and done that. So you got cup winners on this lineup, and you got a guy in Pasternak who's really good every single season and is going to keep getting better. And you got a head coach in John Cooper who is a multi-cup winning head coach. So you have pedigree on the bench, up and down the lineup, unreal speed across the board, and you got guys who are playmakers. Like Crosby can score a lot of goals, but he can get you a lot of assists as well. So if you get a guy like Pasternak, he's scoring. You give it to Kel McCarr, he's got a wicked shot, a lot of speed. So you're having a nice mix of different generations of veteran presence and young guys as well, and you have goaltending that's been proven before. So I think just you have a good mix of some youth, guys who are kind of maybe not to where Crosby's at in his tenure in the league, but with Pasternak, but is there. Then you got Crosby, who's been a leader with his great career, and you got a cup winning coach. So I think across the board, you got some hardware that speaks for itself, especially with playoff performances.
And I think the thing to add is that you're mentioning all the players you have, that they're not just goal scorers or they're not just
Hmm.
playmakers where all of them can score. Even Makar, it's like he's a scoring threat from the point. Obviously, Makar is that piece the real piece you're building around. But you have scoring. You also can have great playmaking, and I think your power play has Pasternak on the wing, Crosby up the middle, and Makar at the point. It's like yeah, good luck stopping that. Although I think we
Yeah,
all
even overtime 3-on-3.
yeah,
Overtime 3-on-3 with those three, yeah.
you
Good
just have
luck
to make
stopping
sure
that.
they get double triple shifted. Oh, I think that's with all our teams. It's like all right, we'll just give them all our ice time, and I don't really care after that. Matthew, you're up. Oh, the interesting part is, yeah, you have a better. You have to make a case that Brindamore can not only Brindamore can win a cup, but also win a cup with Rantanen now because we got to figure this out. We gotta maybe it was Tulsky that was the issue, and he's out. GM Matthew Zader is in, and because GM Matthew is in, all issues are resolved. But why? Like, your team has the talent, obviously. So, but yeah, what is it about your team that is going to win the cup?
Yeah, I mean, there are question marks. Hellebuck has, I mean, well documented his playoff performances haven't been good. But his team in front of him hasn't really helped him either in the playoffs when he's been. So I've got Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen, who are proven playoff performers. Both of them are just excel in the playoffs. Their playoff point totals are insane. You've got Rantanen has been a playoff guy throughout his career, even up into with the Dallas Stars too, with his 9 goals. 43 goals, 123 points in 99 playoff games, which, I mean, he gets in the playoffs, he's going to be good. He never got that opportunity in Carolina, so maybe he might have turned into the player that everyone was hoping for if they would have kept him for the playoffs, but that didn't happen. So, but a proven dynamic duo. They've led a team to a cup before. So I mean, they're there. You got Zach Werenski. I mean, doesn't have as much playoff experience. He has been there, but proven goal scorer from the point. He's got multiple seasons with double digits. He had a 20 goal season this past season. He's had a 20 goal season before that, a long time ago, but 82 points. I mean, he's pretty much money from there, and he can just log a ton of ice time. So he's just a rock back there to solidify your blue line. And then Hellebuck, if you play good, some good defense in front of him, and he kind of gets through, we all know what his talent is. So, I mean, if hopefully for my team, he can put it together, but he's got what he can do in the regular season. If he can play that way in the playoffs, he is the number one goalie in the league. So, And then you got head coach Rod Brindamore. His systems are great. It gets through to Rantanen, which on my team he will. Um, then then yeah, I think this team can win a cup.
We're really piling on that situation with this, which I didn't expect to happen at the Nucleus Draft, but uh, I hear that's all of a sudden you realize that the interesting one is whether you can blame the playoff issues on Hellebuck or not, and that's
Hmm.
if Hellebuck's on a team where you have all those other pieces around him, which you can maybe say the Jets don't have that, and because of that, their Hellebuck just disappears in the playoffs or he gets overworked. Where if you have Brindamore, hopefully he doesn't overwork him in the seat during the regular season. Keeps him for the playoffs, and that's the big thing there. That's and then the other part is how sustainable Werenski's play is. But yeah, it's all if all those things happen, that's another team. Yeah, it's deep playoff runs. Oh, for you, I'll wrap up with mine, and I look at my team and I'm like, this is going to be a third seed or maybe even a wild card team in the regular season. They are not going to have. This is not a good regular season team. Bobrovsky's not going to play. He's not going to play well. They're just like that's the reality, and I think Dryside will play even will. I mean, McDavid and Dryside are at this point playing at one gear and then kick it into another gear for the playoffs. Kachuk certainly does. I mean, he was placed on LTIR, and it's like, all right, get ready for the playoffs. That's when you really step up. But my thought is when this team's in the playoffs, that they're ready to play all. I mean, I always have this thought, which is they can play any type of game and they can impact the game in multiple ways, and all of them can do it. I don't. I know I don't have a second line center. My top line has Drysdale, Kachuk. I don't know if they mesh well together or not. Maybe I'll move Kachuk to another line. But you have those two players that can take over games and really make a difference in all facets of the game. And Quinn Hughes is obviously the that driving force from the point. Uh, and when it in the playoffs, if there's a game seven, I have Bobrovsky in net, and I'm like, okay, I could turn to him to put together a great game. When he needs to put together a big game, he kicks it into another gear and has that. So that's what I mean. That's what I like. And yeah, to add to all of it, Knobloch's there. He'll make the right adjustments. So if that Draisaitl Kachuk top line doesn't work, he'll split them up and it'll work out. And yeah, that's why I like that team. All right, that is all we got. Thank you, everyone. Thank you guys for joining. This was, as always, this is always a fun one. I mean, I'm just like, it's always fun to see how we build our Stanley Cup teams. I think we all have good cases, and if we all faced each other in the playoffs, it would be interesting to see. But that's all hypothetical. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you everyone for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out all the great work. Everyone here is producing putting together great stuff at the Hockey Writers. The season's around the corner, and this is always a fun way to just get thinking about like the big picture Stanley Cup teams and what players you want on that team. But until next time, tune in next time for another great episode. Thank you.